James Melendez. Thank you for coming by my wine table today. This is next. This is Krosno's Avant-Garde red wine glass. Stay tuned to get my thoughts, perspectives, and point score on this wine glass. Stay tuned. So please give a like and subscribe to my channel. Now, I love going through, I've been buying Krosno glass for quite some time, and bought their bar glasses as well as some wine glasses. And I bought this specifically because I wanted to, really experience these wine glasses and see what they are like. And I want to see how this glass performs. Now, this is a $46 price point for 6 glasses, so about $7.66. That's an exceptional price point, and one where I think if you're really budget conscious but you want a better wine glass, this might be for you. Now, when I tried this wine glass, it is a nice attractive shape here, and so I have Santé in here, so Pinot Noir, and I wanted to try this out and compare it with another wine glass, in fact. And so here's a silhouette of the footings. Now, the footing on this is a bit diminutive, and if you know me and have seen other wine video glass reviews, you'll see that I've talked about that quite a bit, and it's one that I would really like to see much more larger footings on all wine glasses, because I think it goes a long way for stabilization. They look better on a table presentation wise, and also they're not going to be tipped over that easily. So I think that's another feature here that I would like to see. Now, it's packaged well, and I always have these shipped to me, and when I have them shipped to me, as opposed to going to a store and getting them, is, how do they travel? Do they get to me in one piece? Did anything break? I looked at all the wine glasses. They're nicely packaged. They're not overly packaged, so if, a lot of people are worried about how it's packaged. And so here's a wine glass itself. Minimal packaging, and yet it's nicely delivered. It's a durable wine glass. I have already washed one. This is a brand new wine glass, which I haven't used yet. And so you'll see the footing here is pretty small, and so that's when I talked about a footing. It doesn't look small, but compared to the picture, it is smaller. And here's the silhouette unto itself. Now, it talks about this here. It says finesse connection of the stem to the bowl and to the foot itself. Ideally transparent glass and smooth rim. And that may seem obvious, right? But it isn't always that obvious, especially if you're buying a lot of wine glasses and you're expecting a nice wine glass. And yet sometimes, I have complained in past videos when I'm looking at a glass, can I see through it? Do I see a lot of distortion? So I don't want to see distraction from the wine glass when I look through it. And I don't want to be having my eye just continuing, being in even the peripheral experience, noticing something that's quite off focus or just doesn't look good. It's a nice crisp rim here, very professionally done. I think it's a nice shape because it's not overly pronounced in terms of its angle, but it's also how it's configured in terms of the interior. So it's minimal sloshing dynamics going on there, which does bother me a lot. And I think in terms of weight, well, it is a machine glass, so this is going to be a little bit heavier. But ultimately, if I could not have another wine glass, this might be the wine glass that I choose. But ultimately, it's a little too heavy for me. The footing's a little too diminutive. So let me just show you something here. I did compare this with this, the same wine in the wine glass, the Santé. And so to me, there are two issues here with these wine glasses that may not seem obvious. If you're sitting down maybe at a sofa and you have a coffee table next to you, or maybe just a side table, and you put your wine glass, this is really hard not to, when you're reaching for the glass, sometimes you might not be looking. You're just doing it just by feeling it. And this can tip over in that respect a little bit more easily than this here. Now, the footing on this is pretty significant. It's probably one where I just give an accolade. This is Spiegelau glass. And so there's no, if I'm not at a side table and just have it on my dining room table, I'm not going to accidentally tip this over. And most likely I'm not going to accidentally brush up on this as I'm trying to bring it to my mouth to taste that wine itself. This one is a little more, it has to have wine in it because ultimately this does have a bit of, you'll see this here, it has a bit of wobble when you put this on a table. And that's something that, of course, when you have some content in there, it's not going to do that because we have some wine in here. So that doesn't really affect it all that much. So I'm not terribly, concerned about that in terms of, you know, if you have an empty wine glass, somebody's going to put wine in there. And if you're at a restaurant or even at your own house, you might do that yourself. So that's not, I think, that much of a concern. I think when it characterizes a wine, am I tasting the wine in, you know, the most optimum way? And when I look at the footprint on this one's obviously much wider, has a much more pronounced footprint. And I think if I fill this up a bit more, I'll have more of a surface area with the wine itself. And this one actually has much of a larger, I would say, surface area than it appears. And so I think that's a good point on this wine. So let me experience these wines and just see how they might differ in terms of the scent and even flavor profiles. Because remember, us as humans, we're going to be informed on the flavor of this just by the scent characterization. So this is giving a characterization of black cherry notes as well as blackberry graphite notation. And I'm going to take a taste of this wine and see what this is like. Beautiful, gorgeous wine. Low ABV on this wine, about 13.6%. And it's nice, expressive. Nice pepper notation. So it's not alcohol driven in terms of that more of a heat note, index note, clove and pepper note. And so on this wine here, while it doesn't have the same experience of this big, you know, very nice bowl here, which I definitely appreciate just from the aesthetic point of view, this does function nicely. And I'm definitely smelling the wine in a very different way than this wine here. I'm getting much more the black fruit notes. And this one I'm getting a much more of a floral characterization, red tea note, as well as herbs, dried herbs. Next is the palate characterization on this wine glass here. So on the palate itself, I'm definitely detecting a much more pepper-oriented wine here than this wine. Yes, I did taste some of the pepper and clove notes, but this is a little more noticeable, more pronounced, because that is the indication that I'm getting in my scent characterization. And that's informing my palate ultimately. So it's not a radical difference. It's not so radical that they taste like different wines, because obviously they are the same wines. Even blind tasting, if somebody didn't tell me they were the same wines, I'd probably deduce that they are the same wines. So the palate characterization is notes of cardamom, pepper notes, as well as clove and graphite. And so they do characterize slightly differently, but not radically so. Now, I'm obsessed with wine glasses because I think they're a final frontier for many people. And I guess what I mean by that is there's so many people who have some fantastic wines in their collections that they drink quite often. You know, maybe 10% of the people I know, especially in the wine trade, right, who have, I would say, inferior wine glasses, or wine glasses that are just, I would say, not as optimized as they should be. And I would say 60-70% have wine glasses that are just not good at all. And so there's a small percentage, maybe 40%, that have a fantastic wine glass. When it comes to, I say, the consumer side, I visit a lot of people. I believe in quite just very, very few wine silhouettes. So ultimately, if you are thinking of, you know, price is an issue for you. These are durable glasses. I've washed them. I've yet to break one. And so I think that's a nice characterization of these wine glasses. Now, this producer has been in business since about 1923. So they, definitely take pride in what they're doing. And so this is a 92-point wine glass. So if you have very little storage space, you live in a city home like I do, this might be a great wine glass to get. And especially the price point, durability, and all those factors that come through. And so it is a smart construction. So this, again, is 92 points out of 100 points. And would I buy it again? I'm going to put a maybe on this. And I think I'll come back and revisit this at another point when I have more experiences with this wine glass. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video review. And, think about updating your wine glasses. Do you have all the wine glasses you want and need? Are you showcasing your great wines in a fantastic wine glass? So if you're pouring wines in $50 to $100, do you have something that's going to highlight that and really bring out and optimize that experience for you and your guests? Thank you for watching, and you'll find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and WordPress. I will see you very soon, and share this video with somebody looking for a well-priced, well-made wine glass. Thank you again. I will see you in the next video review for wine glasses, wines, and spirits. Thank you. Santé.